Good morning. Welcome. It's the Merry Monday Mail Call Show. We have a host of very, very special guests today. And I didn't want to waste any time. So we'll be bringing them on one by one, and you can be introduced to these amazing folk. We're going to go through our top 3 books or things that we picked up during 2025 and talk about what we're hunting for in 2026. So without further ado, let's bring on our guests. We have Laurence from Mighty Comics and Collectibles. How are you, sir?
Thank you so much for having me, man. I was looking forward to this all week. As you can hear, I'm kind of battling the flu, but I did not want to miss this thing. So thank you for having me on. I'm looking forward to this.
Thank you, sir. Very good to see you, and welcome to the show. Our next guest, if I can make this work, is a man who needs no introduction. It's Turok.
Oh, hello. I'm Turok the Dinosaur Hunter.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm hunting dinosaurs. My real name is Dave, though. We all know that because it's your name too.
It is, and it's a pleasure to have you, Dave. Just as a quick question before we move to our next guest, how many Turoks do you own?
Probably a half short box at this point, at least. I give them out. I give them out to people. I want to spread the Turok Chromium love around.
Very good. Our next guest is Raphael. How are you?
Hello. First time caller, long time viewer. Happy to be on the show.
Same. Long-term viewer of you too. So it's great to have you. So what question should I ask you? I was going to ask you about your latest monsters video. And so I love monsters. I see you like monsters. What's your favorite monster?
I think it's probably Fin Fang Foom. I actually have like Marvel. I think it was actually an English company that made these kind of die cast like lead pewter figures a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I have that one. It's kind of actually in a trap up there, but he's just because his name is probably the best out of. But that being said, like when you're talking about stuff that I want to get this year, that one kind of cover that I showed, the monster at my window, it's like Tales to Astonish number 34. The issue right before Ant-Man in costume. That's like one of the books I'd like to find. But I mean, like that kind of stuff is like to find, and I prefer to buy stuff in the wild, not online. That kind of stuff is like literally impossible to kind of just randomly, unless you go to like a bigger show or something like that.
Well, speaking of that issue, I reckon that our next guest will probably own that book and may have actually seen it on the stand when it came out. So I will introduce Gary Sassaman from Tales from My Spinner Rack.
Hey, Dave. How are you?
Very well. It's great to see you as well, mate.
And you are correct.
What's that? You do own it.
I don't own it now. You own it when I was a kid. My brother and I had it, and we could buy it off stands for, I guess that was a 12 center.
Yeah.
And I would love to have it again. That's probably my favorite Marvel monster cover. And as a kid, it kind of terrified me.
Yeah, it's still like really creepy.
It's a creepy book. I should make it into a diorama for a sort of. Tom McFarlane should do it. So
I don't know what the monster's name is, though. That I think I have it reprinted somewhere.
It
but
doesn't.
I don't know what the monster's name is.
I think it was actually nameless in the story.
Okay.
And that story has quite an interesting. I don't know if you remember the story, Gary, but it's got quite an interesting twist at the end. But the person who actually. Yeah, but this one in particular, I thought was, whoa, okay, this one's different than some of the other ones.
Well, talking of twists at the end, here's the biggest twist of it all. It's John and Richard from Bronze and Modern Gods.
The heck does that mean? I want to start off with a little bit of trivia. Today is Stanley's birthday. So everyone should celebrate by stealing credit for something you didn't do at work tomorrow.
I can't steal credit from myself, but I can try.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
All my videos are just copied. Hi, how are you? All right. Well, it's an absolute pleasure. We did this for all those of you who've not seen the show before. We did this last year, and I just wanted to get a whole group of people again back together to sort of go through their best pickups of 2025. And I couldn't think of a better group of people to bring together again. So welcome to the show. Lovely to see you. I hope you're all not too cold. It's finally starting to warm up here, which is good. So that's why I'm still. Everyone's in a t-shirt. So I don't know what.
You're also in the future right now. How's Monday? Is it better than Sunday?
It's warmer than Sunday. So yeah. So it'll be good. It'll be good. I've been looking forward to this all week, all year. So I'm just very happy to see it. Now, who wants to get us kicked off? Because I thought what we do is round robin, maybe.
Sure.
So maybe Laurence, do you want to go first?
Sure.
We go that way around, clockwise or not? What is it? Counterclockwise? You call it, John?
Yeah.
Which way do your toilets go, Dave? They go the other way, right? The toilets
go the other way. Yeah. Yeah. Do you want us to get? Well, maybe before we kick off, we should say hello to the chat because I've been remiss. That's pretty, and it's pretty busy. So let's have a look, see who we got. And again, I probably need my cheaters because it's terrible here. Derek Hammondtree's here. Hi, saying hello to me and Christina very early on. We have Mr. McGroovy's here too. Howdy doody. Laurence, I won't put yours up, but West Coast Avengers said hi. Who else is in here? MJ's here. Hi, how are you? Vincent's here. Hello, Vincent. Dave, you're here again.
Yeah, I'm everywhere.
You're everywhere. Baron Comics is here.
Hey, Baron.
And I think Glenn Simpson's here. John, Richard, there you go.
Real-time fact checking. Thank you, Glenn.
Yes,
That's all. That's exactly what we need for this. And Papa's Dino's here as well. And I think that's it. We're in it. Very good to see you all. Welcome to the show. All right, Laurence. Over to
all right,
you.
so you guys are going to see there's a theme to my pickups this year, okay? If you guys follow me at all, 2024 was like a massive year for me, picking up some bigger books, getting rid of some books. So this year was kind of like, I really wasn't going to go out and spend a lot of money on things. I was merely looking for things that I had never seen before or didn't know about. So this first thing was that, although I knew about it, I didn't know the value it had. So my first thing that I'm going to show is my He-Man and Masters of the Universe Power Sword, which is the original mini comic that came with the first round of action figures from Masters of the Universe. Now, I first caught wind that these actually had some value, and on one of my videos that I do on Tuesdays, a 9.8 copy of this sold for $5,000, and I was kind of like taken aback. I'm like, holy crap, which is, for the grade, it's really rare, but the book itself is really, really common. So I found a nice one on eBay. I think I paid like $80 for it, nothing crazy. And of course, sent it off to PSA this year, my first PSA submission. I wanted to see how they grade this thing. And lo and behold, here we have it in a nice 8.0. The weird thing about this is like PSA back in the day would still grade this. And they used to use these little miniature slabs. So I'm not sure why they changed that and put it in a comic slab, but either way, like everybody knows I'm a big Masters Universe fan. So picking this up this year, finding out the value, I just thought was a cool thing. So I figured, why not show you guys? You wanted stuff that was comics, a little bit of a different comic, but still nonetheless, to me, an important thing.
What's your opinion on PSA versus CGC? Because I'm not sure that slab, and that's
Yeah, the slab itself is actually really, really nice. I like the slab. People will shit on the label and stuff, which to me, I don't really care. I'm not a huge grader. I'm not a huge slabber, only because I don't want to spend the amount of money that it costs now to grade on things. So I mean, as long as the values are there, if you're gonna spend the money to grade a book, I'm fine with it. Yeah. I don't really get why people spend a ton of money to grade books that are not really worth it, but hey, to each his own, man.
Yeah. It's a funny one because I haven't used them yet. And has anyone else used them?
Not yet. And maybe the only book I grade in 2026 is going to be just to test out PSA.
Yeah. I'm thinking of doing what I covered it on a previous video where I was going to do a trading card and the trading card cover just that was the only way I could justify it, because I'm a bit on the fence with PSA at the moment.
We were going to take the CGC Superman exclusive comic and walk it over to PSA and have them grade it, but we got lazy.
That would be fun, and then you got to film it too.
Yeah, we were going to. Flagel House beat us to it, so
Yeah.
Oh, did he do that? Oh, crazy stuff. All right, Dave.
Hi. Oh, it's me.
Your go.
It's
Yes,
me,
you-
Mario.
Ram Robbins.
I'm not on the screen. There I am. Hi, it's
There
me.
you are.
By the way, just in case anybody, I did not introduce myself. I'm Dave, West Coast Avengers. Also, podcast called Direct Edition. Recent interviews: Jeff Darrow, Mark Silvestri, Matteo Scalera. So this year, I'm kind of, I haven't transcended comic collecting, but I kind of got everything I ever wanted to get. So art was the next and natural progression. This year, my first piece that I'll show off, which is a pretty legendary piece if you were a Heroes Con. John Wayshak, amazing artist, who's on a new book this year called Cul-de-sac, which is one of the best books of the year. He's an old friend of mine, and I asked him to do a commission for me at OAX this year, but of course, James, I got to shameless plug myself. I'm a living marketing machine of my own doing. And John gave this to me at Heroes because he asked if he could take a little more time. I told him one thing, and it's a art kind of thing I'm starting to collect: Darth Jar Jar. If somebody out there is like, what is he saying that wasn't English? Jar Jar Binks, but as a Sith Lord, which actually became canon in the Star Wars Lego series this year, but it's a fan fiction thing from a long time ago. And John went out of the park with it, and he doesn't know what a Darth Jar Jar is. So all he did was draw Jar Jar Binks committing seppuku. But when a master artist does something like that, it's a piece to show off. And a lot of people saw this at Heroes and were like, why, how? And I was just like, But anyway, I was flabbergasted at this. He thought I wasn't going to like it. I am still laughing at this. It's kind of like definitely in the style of Ralph Steadman, if you're familiar with Ralph Steadman, who's a legendary artist who worked with, God damn it, why can't I remember his name? Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Hunter Thompson.
Thank you, Hunter Thompson. So he did a lot of the Hunter Thompson art, but this is John Wayshak's Darth Jar Jar.
I remember seeing that video and watching that come to life. It was I'm blown away by that. It should be a cover.
It should. Marvel is actually doing a Jar Jar Binks series this year. I don't know if it's a one shot or a mini series. Mark Guggenheim and Ahmed Best are writing it together. So Marvel, if you're watching this and you need a variant cover, hit me up.
Mm-hmm. There was a whole argument about how Jar Jar Binks really was a Sith Lord, and all of the actions that he did led you to that conclusion. I thought that was brilliant.
I'm totally for that opinion, and I don't know if you still hate Jar Jar Binks but don't understand how like awesome Ahmed Best is in spite of the 30 plus years of hate he got and all this stuff. Like it I don't know. I love that character, but I think I like Ahmed Best a lot more than I'll ever like that character.
Yeah.
So that's my first piece.
Thank you. All right. I'm going to do some moving around, and Raph, it's your go.
All right. My first piece I picked up at a convention this year was this, which is the first issue of the Jetsons' Charlton. Now, it was originally a gold key series, and the first issue of that is really expensive, but I couldn't believe a dealer actually had this, and it was actually in pretty decent condition. And big fan of the Hanna-Barbera like cartoons growing up, like the Flintstones, the Jetsons, and so really happy just to kind of come across this. And it was priced pretty reasonably and in decent condition, and it was on like the last day of the convention as well too. So like they were discounting all their stuff from their bins. So it was like the perfect trifecta of things. So I like, if you watch like stuff on my channel, I like 70s kind of like obscure stuff, and this like scratches a lot of those itches. Just because Charlton in general, like hard to find, impossible in grade, and to find like a first issue like that, like really made me happy.
So it's not the first appearance of the Jetsons though, is it?
No. So in Gold Key, like in the early 60s, I want to say like 1960 or 61. I don't think they had a 4-color issue like the Flintstones did. I think it was just started off at the Jetsons. I could be wrong though. But Gold Key lost their kind of like whatever, the rights to publish comic books. Charlton picked it up for a few years, but not very long as well. But
and then they moved to Marvel. What was the John? You might know this. What was the transition from Hanna-Barbera to they went from Gold Key to Charlton to Marvel?
We had Evan Market Evanier on. He kind of explained a little bit about this. Hanna-Barbera wanted to start their own comic book company. So they took the rights back, and then the financing and the P&L couldn't work, so they had to find another publisher real quick. So they gave it to Charlton. And if you hold that up again, Raph, you'll see how on model and how great the art is from the Charlton Hanna-Barbera books. It's horrible, guys. So Mark's in the background, at this time saying, you got to get this away from these guys. And so they went to Marvel, and the whole thing was Mark was going to edit and package these books, and Marvel was just a distributor, which ended up happening. And the people at Marvel at the time hated the fact that they were doing Hanna-Barbera books. They hated it. And so it lasted about a year.
John, was the Laugh Olympics was that the first Hanna-Barbera Marvel book?
Sorry, say it again. Oh,
was it Laugh Olympics? Was that
Flintstones and Scooby-Doo, #1, same month.
Okay.
And those are, I think, the only two that have 35-cent variants too. If you've ever find a 35-cent variant for Flintstones #1 or Scooby-Doo #1, you can send all 8 of your kids to college.
Yeah, when I was trying to do the still only 35 cents video and the different price variants, I could not find a scan of the I think it was the Flintstones book. It's a ghost. Even on the internet, there's no scans of it.
Yeah.
Does anybody know what markets they ended up in? Because those were tested out in certain markets, right?
Yeah. Knoxville, Toledo. Richard, help me. There's 5 of them.
Oh gosh, I can't remember. St. Louis was one of them?
St. Louis, Buffalo. We're missing one.
There's one in,
but nothing out west, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Toledo is closest to me, which is why I always, whenever I go close to Toledo, I start to drool going to comic book stores, but never come across any 35-cent variants.
I'll keep my eyes open. I find stuff that doesn't exist anywhere else. A lot.
I've got one. I know, John, you've got a couple, right?
I've had a lot of passed through my. I got lucky. No one knew about them for a long time. And when I say a long time, I mean like in the 80s and early 90s. And I think the first, Gary might actually help me here. The first mention was in the Overstreet, I think in 91, where someone wrote a big article about that. But I went up to Concord, California here on a vacation with someone like, in San Francisco, and there was a comic shop in Concord, and they just had like a short box full of them. So I've had a lot of them in the past. I had all the Kid Colts and the Rawhide Kids and
oh my God,
the horror reprint books, the 35-cent variants, but those 2 Hanna-Barbera ones are ghosts, man. Everybody talks about the Star Wars one. Nobody talks about the Hanna-Barbera ones.
Yeah.
Apparently, they're also the test markets were related to like military bases as well. That's what I've heard. That
might be Mark's Jewelers confusion. The Mark's Jewelers were military bases. These were specific U.S. They call them DMAs, regions, where they could test, the average consumer in Middle America to see their price resistance.
Right.
And the markets are different for the 30-cent variants and the 35-cent variants.
Yes. Yeah. Completely.
I'll shut up now.
No. This is it's really, really good because it's as I say, I'm into the price variant. So finding these is, you're never going to find them in Australia, but I still can't find Australian price variants.
And I'm learning from John. So the more knowledge, the better, the more fun this becomes.
Yeah. All right. John, you're up. Oh, actually, no, Gary, you're up.
Gary's.
There you go. Let me. Hi.
Hey, how you guys doing? The biggest thing I picked up this year, in fact, pretty much the only rare or expensive book I bought, was something from my childhood that got away, and that is Strange Tales 135.
Wow.
The first Nick Fury, which as a 10-year-old, when I bought this off the stands, it absolutely blew my mind because I was a huge James Bond fan. The first James Bond movie I ever saw was Goldfinger. I was so young that Pussy Galore meant absolutely nothing to me. But I love the car.
Same.
And everything else. And when I thought this was just, I was a big fan of The Man from U.N.C.L.E. on TV too.
Mm.
And I just felt this was absolutely brilliant that Stanley and Jack Kirby combined an existing hero with kind of the James Bond genre. And this is one of my all-time favorite comic book stories. It's basically Nick Fury's job interview. And when I saw, the helicarrier for the first time and everything else, it's all in here. A full-page splash by Kirby. I mean, after this issue, John Severin took over the art over Kirby layouts, and Severin didn't work out as a penciler. Stan evidently didn't like his work as a penciler. But the thing with Severin was he didn't want to do the plotting. He didn't want to do the layout. He wanted a full script. And that's why Severin ended up on Sergeant Fury as an inker and made Sergeant Fury over Dick Ayer's pencils so much better. But this book is I picked it up at San Diego this year. And I paid a little bit too much for it probably. But all the copies I saw were either beat to shreds and cost $65 to $75. And this one I got for, I think it was marked $225, and I got it for $180. So
very good. What grade do you think?
Oh, I don't know. I don't really care about grades. So. It's probably, I think the guy had it marked as like, I don't know. There's some color breaks on the spine here. Otherwise, as you CGC guys say, it presents nicely. So I'm sorry, guys. That just doesn't.
I love that. No, I love that.
This is like the total opposite to me. I'm literally poring over every book and like, where's the spine tick?
I hear brain exploding all over the comics verse right now.
Well, someday we'll have a long discussion about my rather Zen-like philosophy about grading comics and sealing them in plastic. So
looks great, Mylar.
Yeah, it's the best looking Mylar. All right,
I want to be there for that conversation.
All right, should we go with Richard? John, do you think? Yeah. Sure. Okay.
Okay. I'm going to do this. This is kind of like Dave. It says comic adjacent. Well, it is a comic book. Back when I was a kid, like 7, 8 years old, my mom took me to a flea market, Jamie's Flea Market, for those who are in the Cleveland area, and bought me this book to shut me up because I was bored stiff. This is Eagle Annual from 1962, and for those who don't know, this is a book that was. It's a real book. It's a kind of a hefty thing. It reminds me of Boy's Life. If you grew up in the United States, this is an English book, and it's full of stories and beautiful. Here's a beautiful centerpieces here, like that. It's full of different stories, different activities. Some of the stories are just straight up stories. Some of them are comics. There are actually comic strips that are in here that are part of this anthology. And it's just, this book fascinated me when I was that young. Having a book like this and having a variety of different things to read and to act, keep me busy. This brought me a love of comics. I have to say, I think this is the first comic book that I ever had and it was ever given to me. Shortly after this, when I was a little older, my father gave me a stack of DC Legion of Superheroes, which is a whole nother story. But I don't have my original copy of this. I bought this off eBay this year, which is why I put it in this year, because I just had such fond memories of it, and not having read it for 30 some odd years, I just desired it. It wasn't expensive. I believe I paid $40 for this. So it's not anything that's highly valuable to anybody but me. And it's just strange that a book from England would show up in Cleveland, Ohio. But here it is.
It's got Dan Dare in it, right?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Dan Dare. Absolutely. That's, it's just great. This selection of stuff in here is just amazing. If you ever have an opportunity to pick one of these up, I guarantee you at least 2 hours of just being lost in it. And it's just an enjoyable book.
Yeah.
It's funny. Oh, sorry, Dave.
No, you go.
Oh, no, before you said it was from the UK, like that design of that book, I knew it was a UK book without knowing it was a UK book.
Yeah.
Something about it,
I swear that eagle on the corner there looks exactly the same as like the Eagle Awards kind of.
It is. That's what it's based on. The Eagle. Yeah.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah. The Eagle Awards sprouted from this. They were, That's the what's the US equivalent of the Eagle Awards?
Eisner.
Yeah,
Eisner. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. I was not alive, by the way, in 1962. So
lies.
Predate.
Right, John, you're up.
Anybody that watches our show knows I've spent 2025 chasing after my big mainstream keys: Giant Size X-Men #1, ASM 129, Incredible Hulk. What's so funny, Richard? What? Am I not? Of course not. I buy things like Ghostly Tales 126. Another Charlton for you, Raph. This is the second copy of this I bought this year. First one I got at NeoCon in Ohio, and it was okay. But then I saw this super duper sharp copy for $10 and said, "Hey, I can press and clean that." I'm kind of obsessed this year with an artist from that era named Enrique Nieto, who drew this cover, and he drew a lot of the romance books. And the reason why I'm obsessed with Enrique Nieto is because he was very good, very distinctive art style. He was great at drawing women, and but he seemed to have a very strange obsession that I'm not quite sure why it appealed to me. But it's
no
just,
idea, John.
Yeah. You go through all of his work, and it's like, here's a very pretty woman. Here's a huge masculine guy with no clothes on and a thong. Enrique Nieto is someone you should, if you're into Charltons at all, he's kind of underrated. And these are, like Raph said, these are very tough in grade. Yeah. I was super happy to find this one. Yeah. And so more annoying obscurities to come.
I have a love-hate relationship with Charlton. I love them for their just obscure, beautiful art, but they fall apart.
They do. They're terrible. They're put together a mess to begin with, miscut pages and all that stuff. So they are bound to fall apart, literally.
Looks great in the Mylar, though. The myth, I've been told this is a myth because I said it on the show a few times, and I had people come. One guy that wrote a book about Charlton comics for Tomorrows came in and said the myth is they were all printed on the same printer that they would use to print cereal boxes. So that's apparently not true after decades of people saying that. But the printing is, we're making toilet paper here. We might as well print some comic books too.
Right, but they did print their own books. Like they didn't outsource the printing, and that's, I think, why they are. But it's kind of charming. I mean,
I love it.
It is charming, and then the amount of Ditko art hidden in those pages it's a treasure trove.
Yeah,
zero editorial oversight, so people nuts whatever they wanted to in those pages. You were a lot of Tom Sutton in the 70s. If you like Tom Sutton. And just some really obscure Sanho Kim, who was a Korean artist, some beautiful stuff in there. So there are some gems hidden in the Charltons. You got it, like going to the landfill. You got to dig.
All right, I'm up, I think.
Yes.
Let's see what we got. Yep. All right, so this is in honor of Laurence a little bit because I know he's bringing some toy-related stuff. This was one of my most unexpected, but just a happy accident stumbling across it. And I wasn't going to buy. I haven't been in the market for this. I picked up a sealed Mego Spider-Man, and I just couldn't let it go past me. And I found it in Australia, and it's beautiful. You can see it's like it's still sealed. He's still in there.
I've never seen the cap. Does the cap exist?
The cap does not exist, but a prototype exists.
Okay.
So it was going to happen, but yes, and you're talking about this here.
Yeah.
So it was going to happen, and yeah, there is a prototype, but
That's
they never
a beautiful
actually
condition.
Yeah, for being what 40 some odd years old, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Marvel's big three: Spider-Man, Captain America, and Mr. Fantastic.
That's crazy stuff. But yeah, this was just literally stumbled across it in an Australian comic and toy fair, and I just haggled them down, and it's now pride of place in the collection. So
Yeah,
Dave,
I wouldn't have let that pass either, Dave. I would have had to buy that.
I wasn't going to show. I feel obligated to show this off because it was sitting on the floor because I just unpacked my whole trip. But I did pick this up while I was in Japan. Hot Toys exclusive Spider-Man, and it's the same thing. I'm not in the market for any figures like this, but I saw it on display at Tokyo Comic Con, and I'm like, yeah, I gotta own this.
it's the Japanese Spider-Man, right?
Yeah. Spider-Man.
So yeah, Spider-Man. It's amazing. If you ever get a chance to watch some of the live action Spider-Man, and it is a treat. It really is.
It is.
I love that show growing up as a kid.
It's so weird and so wild. Everything Spider-Man from Japan is ostensibly 400 times weirder than anything they've ever done in this country with Spider-Man.
Nicholas Hammond was pretty weird with those rope webs.
Yeah. Didn't last long, though, his portrayal.
All right, Laurence, you're up. Let me just move you.
So I said I had a theme today, okay? So like I'm pleasantly surprised that everything that everybody has shown is like basically a callback to something about them, which you don't really get a lot in the comic book community nowadays. Everything's about like the bigger keys, like John said, everything's mainstream. So again, theme. A good buddy of mine, Como Comic Books, who also has a YouTube channel, he actually came across like a big stack of these. So I guess from a local movie theater that shut down in his area, and they had a whole bunch of these still from 1987 sitting in the theater, which I thought was wild. Wow. So I messaged him and said, dude, you got to give me one of those, because while I know they're not rare, just the story, obviously being a Masters Universe huge fan, that they would still have these in a movie theater somewhere. And this one is like pristine condition. You can see I only paid $25 for it, but like just the story of them still sitting out there somewhere in a theater. How many years has it been? 40 plus years or whatever it's been. Not 87, I think 20. No, my math is off today. Sorry. I'm like I said, flu. But just the story alone, and to have something that I've never owned for cheap, I thought was a really cool thing for me to pump in this year. And the one thing I'll say is like, that's where my collecting has gone. It's gone from buying bigger mainstream things to kind of finding things that I remember as a kid, or about nostalgia, or about something that is historical, at least that I remember, that's important to me. Yeah. And that's what really has made this transition into this part of my life of collecting really, really fun.
I think that's the thing I love the most at the moment. It's not I'm sick to John's point. I'm tired of the big keys to some degree, unless they're like Silver Age or Golden Age or something that has real sort of oomph to it. But it's much more like, I love picking up little trinkets of like the Spider-Man stuff, right, that you wouldn't expect. All right, Dave,
you can find a Hulk 181 anywhere.
I'm sitting on one right now. It's what I use to keep the seat warm.
Yeah, where are you gonna find He-Man with his best Judy She-Ra?
Yeah.
I love the fact that was in I'm assuming it was just found, and there's a whole stack of them, right?
Yeah, he did a video on it. I'm not sure exactly where in the theater or how it came about, but just watching that video just took me back. I'm like, holy crap, that something like that could still exist.
Yeah. It's the fact that 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it was sitting there unknown, just waiting for its chance to reappear. That's awesome. I love the story.
I sometimes wonder how much of those types of things are out there. I'd love to.
I don't want to derail, but Richard and I talked a few weeks ago about in '88, there was a drugstore in our little town in Ohio that went out of business, and they had an auction, and that you showed up for the auction, and there were boxes and boxes of returns that were never returned, comic book returns, going all the way back to 1974. Just literal boxes of, okay, these 4 copies of X-Men 92 didn't sell. We'll send them back. And they never stripped them. And I had a shop, I managed a shop at the time, and we bought them all. So this stuff, now I don't know if it's still out there. Well, wasn't a Detective 27 found in a barn this year?
Yeah. How about the Superman 1 found in San Francisco?
Oh, the 9.0?
Yeah, well, look, that's all, money, hush money, okay? Hush money.
Ruin the illusion.
Even Gary would look at that book and say it's not a 9.0.
Yeah, but the PR doesn't care. The PR,
no, 100%.
As Gary says, it presents well.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I mean, John,
I'm gonna have a T-shirt made with that on. So.
I mean, that's what I do. I uncover collections all over the place. And, I found a first Riddler detective, what is that, 140? And a horse farm east of Tacoma. Wow. And it was the only superhero book they had in the box full of Gold Key and Dell and all that stuff.
Let's all go to Nebraska just go to every barn we see.
That's how Steve Jeppy started back in the 70s. He was a mailman in Baltimore. And a lot of the people on his route were older, and he told them, if you have an attic or a basement you want cleaned out, I'll come over on the weekend and do it for you, just as long as you let me take whatever books or comic books or magazines you have. And that's basically how he started. And I met him back in the early 70s at the Phil Seuling's New York shows, and he was just a dealer then. And but he had amassed all these comics and stuff just by, believe it or not, kind of being a nice guy.
What happened?
Exactly. Well, he tried to take over the world, and that's what happened. So,
yeah.
All right, Dave, you're up.
So, if you watch my channel, if you know me, I do like to talk about Turok 1, and I do love this book. And I've had Bart Sears on my channel before, and he's a great guy and a great artist. Well, this year I finally had the opportunity, and I bought a page from Turok #1.
Excellent!
Wow,
second page from the first issue of Valiant's Turok, which obviously is not the original Turok, but it's the Turok we most of us know. If you're a certain age, and if you're not, then you know the other Turok.
Speaking of boxes left over of filled with books.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Bart told me, I think he got paid for 2 million copies, but they actually sold like 2.3. I mean, that was Valiant's MO, was to short creators, thousands of dollars in residuals and stuff. But super happy to own this. I mean, it's got everything I need. It's got a dinosaur, it's got Turok, it's got a ton of ink. It's got that Bart anatomy, that wild, style that he had. And this is not something I ever thought I would own, but it kind of, takes me back to, like we're harping on it. This is a book that I bought when I was, whatever, it came out, I was 12, I was 13 years old. I couldn't read it for shit because it reads like shit, but the art is a different story. The art is amazing.
Yeah.
And it's, one of the reasons why comics exploded and then imploded.
Like I say, I was managing a shop at the time. We ordered literal cases of that book.
Yeah.
And they sold out. And, people joke about Turok being left over and, being one of the biggest remainder books. We sold out. It was in a little town in Ohio. Crazy.
And the thing is like his art is something, his art is quite amazing, his anatomy and just the energy he drew with.
Who inked that? Cressing, or was that?
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Hold on. No, it was Randy Elliott. That's who sold the page to me.
Okay.
All
Oh,
right.
wow.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that was my one of my golden pickups of the year.
Did you confirm that actually is not Andy Smith art?
Yeah.
If you know, you know.
I've talked to Bart about it also. I actually got a really cool video of Bart holding up the original cover for Turok 1 at OAX this year, and then Dinesh bought it.
Andy Smith is a Bart Sears clone for anybody that didn't know what I was talking about. A literal clone. I think
Yeah.
in a laboratory.
All right, Raph, your go.
All right. This is our Army at War number 151.
Ooh.
First appearance of the blazing question mark. I remember, actually, John, I remember you like showing this on an episode on your channel, and was finally able to get a copy. And I think there's a kind of a used bookstore that also sells a lot of comic book stores that's popular in Toronto called BMV Books. And I think it was a collector that just collected war books that sold their collection of DC war books to the store. And so the first time I went there, I was able to pick up a couple really nice of the gray tone GI Combat issues. But and I asked if they had this issue, but they didn't have it. But I went there a month later, and there it was.
Tell everybody who it is.
Enemy Ace, the first appearance of Enemy Ace, Robert Kanigher and Joe Kubert. And so controversial, they couldn't put the character on the cover, and he would move on to Star Spangled War stories, but this is his first appearance, and it presents very well.
Beautiful.
Not a super high grade copy, but a copy that I'm really happy with because it can be an expensive book in high grade.
DC
But,
did a book in the 70s called Blitzkrieg, which was World War II from the point of view of the Nazis. And
yeah,
it only lasted 5 issues. I wonder why. If they had used Enemy Ace as the lead for that book, it may have actually been a appropriate place for Enemy Ace to land.
but I always loved, like, I'm still missing actually quite a few of the other Star Spangled War stories, but to finally get his first appearance and for what, a decent price, really happy about that.
Do you have the 2 showcase appearances?
I have 15. I have the second one, 59, but not the 58, which is the really nice black cover.
Yeah.
And I don't have I think it's Star Spangled War Stories 138, which also has a really nice black cover with his face and the plane in the foreground. I think I used to have that, but it's like, yeah. But
You probably
they seem to be generally not that expensive, like when you do come across them, just because, war comic books, not as many collectors collect them as much as they used to.
I find if you try to buy war comics from a comic shop, they're super cheap. If you try to buy them at a convention, they're marked all the way up.
Yeah.
There's
Right.
also a showcase presents black and white volume of Enemy Ace, which you can see almost original art quality on the reproduction on that.
It's beautiful.
Gary, it is you.
Okay. Speaking of Turok,
Hey,
and you're going to have to bear with me until I get there, but some of the latest things I bought was the Wally Wood issues of Total War. When this came out in the 60s, I bought this off the stands too, and it terrified me because it's about a mysterious military group invading America on American shores. But Wally Wood did the first 3 issues of this.
I didn't know that he did those issues.
And there's number 2. And then number 3, it became Mars Patrol, which is what these guys were called because they were like Marines, Army, whatever R and S stand for. I don't know. But
It says on the
on the first cover, the first issue, it says it.
Yeah, it does. Marine Attack Rescue Service. So, but the thing that fascinates me about not only the Wally Wood stuff, because this is like 1965, and Wally Wood was really, really busy in comics in 1965. He was doing Daredevil. He was doing Thunder Agents came right after this, I believe. And Thunder Agents was kind of a long-term commitment for him. He had just left Mad Magazine over a dispute. One of his stories was rejected. So I think he was in every issue of Mad Magazine from #1 through 1964 or so. But Al Feldstein had rejected one of his stories. So he went and looking for work. He famously battled with Stan Lee on Daredevil. Got kind of crappy between the two of them.
He wanted to get paid.
He wanted to get paid for plotting and laying out the stories. Yeah, he wanted to do that. But anyways,
Happy birthday, Stan.
our connection on this is this book, The Art of George Wilson, which did all these great Dell and Gold Key covers, painted incredibly prolific. Up until this book, not a lot known about him, and he was an artist on the original Turok covers for Gold Key and Dell. And I was wondering, West Coast Dave, if your love of Valiant Turok made you pursue any of the Gold Key or Dell books.
I actually have, I want to say like the first 40 issues of that run. So
wow.
Yeah. The #1 I have is, I think it's covers detached, but yeah, the run is, it's pretty solid. It may be the whole run. I haven't looked at it in a while, but I got it in a collection a couple years ago, and I was like, I'm never going to see this again. I might as well just hold on to it.
Was the 4-color in there?
John, that's a question I could answer if I look, but I can't answer. I don't.
Beautiful cover on the 4-color.
Is that the one where it's like kind of like he's on a ledge looking down?
He and the kid are looking at the dinosaurs in the distance.
Yeah, and I do. Yeah, that's in there. That's in there.
Nice.
Wow.
Gary, who put that book out?
That's from Hermes Press.
Okay.
It's probably the best book they've ever done.
I'm going to have to try.
And it came out around May, and I bought it directly from them because they had a Memorial Day sale of 25% off. Otherwise, it's like a $75 book. And I don't like some of their books because the layout is very pedestrian and everything, but this is really well done. And truly somebody that, it also has one of my absolute favorite, if you look up here in the corner here, Classics Illustrated covers, The Time Machine, which I had as a kid, which I bought solely for the story and not to write a book report for school. But I really like George Wilson's stuff. There was an article in Illustrators Quarterly magazine, which is put out in the UK on him. And that was the first I even found out his name, because this was, totally anonymous. He did a lot of Tarzan covers. He did a whole run of Dr. Solar, The Phantom, Gold Key, Lost in Space, Dark Shadows, Turok. So, I mean, he was cranking out probably 4 or 5 paintings a month, in addition to doing paperback book covers and everything else.
Wow.
So a very quiet man, lived, I think, upstate New York, and lived to be in his 90s and stuff until finally some fans discovered him. It's kind of like the Carl Barks story. You just knew that this guy was a really good artist, and you didn't know whose name was. I mean, Carl Barks was known for years as the good duck artist, and that was it. And then fans finally tracked him down. So there's an interview with George Wilson in this book that is taken from some, I don't know if it was a YouTube video or a fanzine or whatever, but I think he died I think he lived to be in his 90s. So, but it's a really nice book. It's definitely worth seeking out.
All
right. Thank you. Richard, you're up.
All right. My next book is a book I've been looking for quite some time. I just wasn't willing to pay the amount of money. West Coast Dave may recognize this. It's a Star Wars book. It's Star Wars Galaxy Edge #1, specifically the Imagineering.
That's a ghost
variant. It is a ghost. And for those who don't know, the Star Wars Galaxy experience at Disneyland is a part of the park where you have a whole area of Star Wars. I mean, you've got buildings and people dressed up as Star Wars characters. It's a whole experience. You build lightsabers, the entire thing. When the people who did those are called Imagineers, the people who designed it, and Disney gave out this comic to those Imagineers back, I think it's 2019, yeah, as a giveaway. You need to get a goodie bag, and one of the things in it was this comic. Well, you know how well people take care of things in a goodie bag, and so there aren't a whole lot of high grade books of this. There aren't a whole lot of books, period. People just did not keep these things. So for a long time, this book was really, really crazy expensive, like 4 figures expensive, which I wasn't willing to pay because of the softening of the market. And this is one of those books that I bought this past year because it actually fell below $700. And I decided I wanted it. I've always wanted this book. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and this has been one of those unobtainium books. And when it came down to a price I was actually willing to pay, I snapped it up. And yeah, so this is part of the collection now.
Yeah, what is there, like less than 5,000 copies of that? Do you know what the number is?
Good question. I do not. I meant to look how many copies are on the census, but this book averages about $1,000 on eBay.
Yeah. I think maybe the number produced was under 1,000 now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, sort of makes sense. And then the Imagineers are based out of, like, you'd have Florida and then obviously California, right? Like,
Yeah, I've seen that book more here than anywhere else in
yeah.
California. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, that's what I was going to wonder. If they would have turned up where you, more or less where you are.
You've been to my LCS Pulp Fiction. Ryan
Yeah.
has had 2 copies come through. So yeah,
It's
it's kind of like the 35-cent variant. If you lived in the region, a little easier to get it a hold of.
Yeah. Wow, love it, John. Over to you.
Rob, DC War books, Big 5, right? Right, the Big 5. Our War, Star Spangled War Stories, All American Men of War.
Our fighting forces.
What about Black Hawk?
He's like Dark Hawk.
You were all just waiting for it. I know you were. This is my favorite issue of the original run of Black Hawk, because at the time the book was on the skids. I mean, it was getting ready to be canceled. They some brilliant editor who will remain nameless, George Cashton, decided to change the Black Hawks in the Batman TV series era into superheroes. One of them, Olaf, wore a suit with ears all over it, and he was called the Listener. Guess what his superpower was? You're right. One example of the misguided superhero era of the Blackhawks. So, in an effort to save this book, Dick Giordano became the editor, came over from Charlton, was immediately amazed at the printing quality of the DC books. And this issue was inspired by a proposal by Marv Wolfman that was left in the desk of the outgoing editor, that Dick Giordano opened the desk and found the proposal from Marv Wolfman and said, wait, this is actually really good. Took them back to being, are they mercenaries? Is it World War II? What are they fighting? We never really find out, and that's okay. And he gave it to Pat Boyette, who was another big Charlton mainstay. Mm-hmm. And Pat Boyette turned this book around in 4 days. So this is a 4-day effort. And look at that cover. I mean, it's beautiful.
Great cover.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is the book about a bunch of like dominatrixes just running wild? Because that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing men in leather, the leather daddy.
I would say that's more accurate than dominatrix. The more masculine aspect of it. Look, Dave, just because they're all brothers and they live on an island and wear leather doesn't mean anything. Stop. This is for kids. And this is a great issue. You find out that the lead Blackhawks brother is alive. And then for some reason, the last issue, Pat Boyette had more time to spend on it, as you can see, and he kind of went nuts on the last issue, but it was just too late. And and it was canceled until the mid 70s. But I've been looking for these 2 issues in at least, sorry, Gary, higher grade than what I have. And
Hey, you be you, John.
right. San Diego Comic-Con, which if I can give Gary lots of props. Gary did a bunch of panels at Comic-Con this last year. I enjoyed every single one of them, sitting on them. He had one of his favorite comic covers from Fantastic Four with a lot of special guests. He had, I don't even, Gary, tell everybody what panels you did because you need some props.
I only did 2.
Okay.
But years ago, I used to schedule all the panels for Comic-Con. I did, back in 2014 with San Diego Comic-Con, I co-created a group of book clubs throughout the greater San Diego area that stretched from Oceanside in the north down to Chula Vista in the South Bay. And at one point in time, we had 14 different groups of about anywhere from 15 to 20 people that met once a month and just talked comics. Man, that was the vision of my boss, Faye Desmond, who came to me in 2004, 2005 and said, I want to start a book club. So if you figure out how to do it. And in 2014, we started. So as you can see, I jumped right on it. So, but it was a lot of fun. And we did a panel celebrating the 11th anniversary of the start of that, that was put together by one of the guys that was very instrumental with the San Diego Central Library. He's now with the Chula Vista Public Library. His name is Erwin. I'm going to butcher his last name, Magnabuana, I think. And he asked me to be on it along with the book clubs are still surviving. Comic-Con really isn't supporting them, but some of them still survive and they meet monthly. Some of them do meet live. During the pandemic, we all met on Zoom like we are right now. And Comic-Con was generous enough, something they don't get credit for, but every time we started a new club, we bought the first book for the club. The first book for the downtown club, which I ran, was Matt Fraction's Hawkeye, Volume 1. It was just a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun too at Comic-Con to get back together with them and stuff. The other panel I did was our favorite Fantastic Four covers, which I did with Mark Evanier and John Morrow, who publishes the Jack Kirby Collector and so many other great magazines and stuff. In fact, when I guess, John, you mentioned it earlier, the Charlton Companion, which is written by John B. Cook and designed by him, is just a phenomenal book that runs through the entire history of Charlton Comics, Charlton Publishing, all the way from My Hit Parade magazine when they were illegally bootlegging copies of song lyrics and selling them, and the owner of Charlton went to prison to that for a number of years.
The power
and always reportedly had mob connections ever after. But that is a phenomenal book. I think it's out of print right now, but if you can find it anywhere, it's not only about comics.
Yeah.
You can buy it digitally from Tomorrow's. Yeah. And Tomorrow's is one of those companies like Fantagraphics and everybody else that got really, really screwed with the Diamond bankruptcy. So anything you can send their way monetarily is a great thing. So he has a great lineup of books for 2026 coming up. So, but yeah, thanks for mentioning that, John.
Yeah, my point.
I hope to be doing panels at WonderCon and Comic-Con this year too.
Excellent. And my point was, even though I was on the floor buying Blackhawk, go to panels. If you go to conventions, go to panels, because I really went head in after 30 some years of going to SDCC and never really going and scheduling panels. You know, I was, I'm going to do it, but I went to one or two. This year, I really focused on going to as many GRU panel, all these different panels, and I had a blast, guys. I cannot recommend it highly enough.
Yeah.
Did you manage to go to the Evanier and Mark Waid panel?
I did not, because it was
was really good too.
At the Dark Shadows panel, and I had to make a Sophie's choice. Sorry, the Collins family will always win.
Yeah, I think that's good. I'm planning yesterday for San Diego this next year coming.
Oh, good.
So at least, yeah, I will try and make that. I won't be able. It looks like I won't make WonderCon, But yeah, I want to try and get to San Diego this year. And to your point, John, just do a lot more of the panel stuff, because that was a revelation to me when I went 2 years ago, having done one and then going to other people's panels. So.
And John, just because I know you love talking about Blackhawk,
Wait a second.
the DC Finest volume that came out that's just called War includes 4 months worth of the Big Five, and they also include 4 months worth of Blackhawk.
Which era?
It's right when DC took over Blackhawk and GI Combat from Quality Comics.
Okay.
It's like April 1957, something like that.
Lots of War Wheel and Lady Shark. Okay, I'm in.
Yes, yeah. It's a really nice collection.
Excellent.
It looks like it's me.
Is this your show?
Yeah.
It is, but it does look like it's me. John, you'll remember this.
I sure do.
So I saw this on a wall at WonderCon. Actually, we're just talking about WonderCon, and it's a sealed golden record reprint issue of Journey into Mystery with the first appearance of Thor, and it's still sealed in the back. Haven't taken it out. Refused to take it out.
Richard, tell your story.
My story.
The Fantastic Four one we saw at California Comic-Con in 2019 that was sealed for $200, and we both went, that's too expensive.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Now I remember. Those are amazing that it's managed to stay sealed and pristine for that amount of time.
It still has the price tag on the top right corner too.
It does, and I don't know if you can see it. Can you? Let me just see if I can make it big.
It's not punched out. Some of those were punched out because they were returns.
Yeah.
But that is wonderful.
Love
Yeah,
it.
very happy with that. It's
And it presents well too.
One
No
thing,
scratches.
if you leave that up for a second, Dave, on the big screen, I want to point this out because this is the minutia that only this crew will appreciate. This is 1966. But if you look at the font that they used at the bottom for a Marvel Comic Group book and record, and where it says "Come to Life," they used that same font in the 70s for the Marvel Comics banner.
Mhm.
Yeah.
This is like 5 years before that.
Yeah.
As a font aficionado,
Somebody pointed out, like, oh, maybe we should just use the thing that we used on those records. And
I'm sure.
Dan's like, that's a great idea. It was mine.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure it was like an Electroset. They used to have an Electroset font where it was basically like a color font with scratch and
Rub on.
Has anyone actually ever listened to one of those golden records?
They're all on you.
Yeah, they're on YouTube.
Okay.
So, David, do you have any of the other ones? The Fantastic.
No, I would have liked that Fantastic Four one of $200.
Yeah.
But I did on the couple on Heritage post getting this because I want to get now. It's one of those horrible things, right? You pick one up and then you're like, I need to get the others.
Collecting.
But this one spoke to me because I have the others in comic form, right? So I don't need to necessarily chase those. That one I haven't got the Journey to Mystery, so I needed.
Yes, you do need to chase them.
Yes, I do. All right, Laurence, you're up.
Back around to me. So, like I said, this was themed this year, and it's apropos because the movie is coming out in 2026. So, I have wanted this ever since I was a young adult, and I finally bit the bullet this year. So, what I bought this year was a mint on card, although not too mint, as you guys can see, He-Man from the original line. Now, what made these special is that they came in 8-back form for the first releases. Now, the first releases in the U.S. were released in late 1981. This is a Mexican variant, which was released early in 1982. So this is the first release of He-Man in Mexico. Now, the U.S. versions came with that He-Man and the Power Sword, like I showed you the comic I originally showed. And they're a lot more expensive, but I've always wanted an 8-back He-Man. I've always wanted an 8-back Skeletor. And this year was the year I finally pulled the trigger. I'm sure anybody who knows me, who watches my channel, I've been infatuated with the Masters Universe ever since I was a kid, since since that first cartoon, since the first series ever came out, and I've been obsessed ever since. So much so that like when I graduated college a long time ago, I'm 22, 23 years old, I tried to reacquire all these mint on card, and I was almost there. And at some point, just like my comic collection at the time, I ended up selling everything to buy a house. So this is the first mint on card Masters of the Universe figure I kind of bought, and my first 8-pack ever. So
It presents well.
yeah, not so much, but hey, to find an 8-pack still mint on card, it's quite a feat.
Yeah.
Question for you: the new movie that's coming. How excited are you for that? And
On a scale of 1 to 10, about 35. It's been 40 years in the making to finally get an accurate He-Man movie, and from everything that I've seen, and people know I've covered it on the channel, like there's been a lot of great news and a lot of great things that are coming out about the movie that hits home for people who are fans of the IP.
Well, I wish you better luck than me and Black Adam. So
yeah, definitely.
I really hope it comes good, because it's been a troubled journey, right, up until recently. So
Well, that's why I said 40 plus years in the making, trying to get it right.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as it's okay, as long as it matches the energy of the cartoon, that's all you can really ask for. Because it's not like we grew up with He-Man being this amazingly written thing. It was actually the cheesiest, but it's our childhood.
It better have so.
Yeah, the characters alone, from the heroic side to the evil side, they're all iconic. There's nothing that you're going to find in today's toys, even from that era, that resembles the real creativity about these characters. And I think that's why, like, me especially was drawn to it.
Jared Leto is Skeletor, right?
Yeah.
That
Oh,
is
well, there goes
totally
that movie.
concerned.
No.
Box office poison.
Let's see. Joker, Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Don't rain on his parade now.
Yeah.
I tried not to.
From what I heard, people who have seen like the test screening said it's been all positive. So we'll see.
Yeah.
That's
That's good. Dave.
Oh yeah, it's me. Is it
you.
okay? I hope not. Don't anger the panel, but since it's comics, can I just make 2 notable mentions that aren't, these like
You can cheat. I
Okay,
wouldn't
I'm gonna
expect
cheat.
nothing more.
I'm gonna cheat and just say I'm just glad that I picked up more than one copy of this, because this was the best comic book in 2025. That's the Absolute Batman Annual 1, written, drawn by Mr. Daniel Warren Johnson, at least the first 30-page story. So I just wanted to make that as an honorable mention. And I did get one comic that, I was just really happy that I finally found a raw copy in really nice condition of Silver Surfer 1. And I mean, if you don't watch my channel, you don't know, I basically got that for free. I bought this in a small collection for a couple $100 that had a Conan 1.
I was going to say, that's the one with the Conan. I remember that.
Yeah. And I sold all the Conan and I got that for free. So
yeah.
But my final big pickup of 2025 kind of really comes at the end of the year. I was just in Japan for a month, and one of the parts of my trip was to go to Tokyo Comic-Con. And one of the highlights of Tokyo Comic-Con is knowing that Peach Momoko is going to be there, because, her and Yo, her husband and manager, live in, outside of Tokyo. And last year I bought some art from Peach. This year I went a little bit too far on the art buying, but I got one of the pieces I got is this beautiful cover for X-Men Alpha of the Apocalypse, which I think either just came out or is about to come out. I don't know. I'm not reading the X-Men Apocalypse stuff, but this variant cover that she did, I mean, this is a painting. This is a museum quality piece of art. This is not just a comic book cover. And I will continue to support her by buying original art or whatever. But to own this, kind of the cherry on top of a great trip and a good year for me.
So what did you think of the Comic-Con?
Tokyo Comic-Con's fun. I mean, I'll say this, it's more of a pop culture con, just like we have in the States, with celebrities and all that. But the Artist Alley is fun. I mean, because the Artist Alley is a mix of people that are coming over from the States, but all over the world, and then a lot of Japanese people. And it is a humbling Artist Alley. This year, in Artist Alley, not in VIP experiences or anything, were Jim Lee and Frank Miller. They ran an artist alley. Now think about that.
Just sitting there.
2025, and Jim Lee and Frank Miller are sitting at artist alley tables. Granted, yes, they are there certain hours of the day, but they were there more than they weren't. Jim Lee was charging, all you had to do was buy one of the prints that they had at the table, and you can just get whatever you want signed. And Frank Miller was charging a meager $60 per signature, which is probably what, a third of what he charges in the States. And Jim Lee was, I mean, everybody was friendly. Jim Starlin was there. Peach was there. But, you know, there were tons of Japanese artists that either people in the States wouldn't know, or you know, but you don't see because they don't come over. So, and it's the cosplay there is on a next level. Like everything there feels like it's on a different level, and it's the fans are great. I was hanging out. My trip was with Jim Mafood, and he had a table there, and he was getting letters from people like, "Thank you for coming back to Japan. I met you in 2019. I followed your work since." So like, it's calm, it's friendly on both sides, the fans and the people exhibiting. It's the antithesis of the United States of America right now.
I have to ask, or I'm gonna get yelled at after the show. How much Sailor Moon was there?
Not much. I didn't see a ton of Sailor Moon. I mean, there was some art.
I have to go. All right, fine.
But you see, you know, because it's you know, they bring in celebrities from all over the scope, like Mads Mikkelsen and Johnny Depp and Elijah Wood, and so you get a lot of people cosplaying in American IPs, but then you get Chainsaw Man and you get this, that, and the other thing. But even just the general cosplay there is pleasant to look at, and everybody's just so polite. It's not annoying.
Not like Peach at NYCC.
Yeah, they're not. I don't know if you're going to see her at too many cons again in the States after that. I mean, I don't blame her. They don't need to, you know. And my God, you know, just the amount of stuff that she signs at Tokyo Comic Con with a smile on her face the entire time. Like, why would you want to replace that with a bunch of? I'll just say Americans. I won't use any adjectives.
You don't need any.
All right, Raph, you're up.
All right, time for some Canadian content. So I've talked about Chester Brown's Louis Riel before, and Chester Brown originally did stuff in the 80s. The one series called Yummy Fur, published by Vortex. One character in particular, Ed the Clown. Now it's not always the easiest read, but this was originally published by Drawn and Quarterly in a 10-issue comic book series, which is extremely hard to find. And this year, I got the entire original set.
Dude,
Awesome.
And like, I think the print run for these, like from issues, were like less than 3,000. And I think they even, like, nobody was buying this because it's a weird format. It's not even the full size of a comic book. The paper, but I mean, it sold very poorly. But when Chester Brown went back, did a bit of reworking, and then published it as a book, it kind of took off. And so Louis Riel is one of the most kind of tragic Canadian historical political figures. So what was unusual about this series is that he heavily documented or footnoted all the stuff, and like the footnotes are just insane. Like there's several pages of like this tiny micro print, and this copy actually I found is also remarked by Mr. Brown.
Wow.
But I'm not Nicole. It says "Hey Nicole" on it. But thanks, Nicole, for
you are now.
Yeah.
That's your new nickname.
Yeah, he's done some really quite interesting stuff over the years, but super happy to find that, just because like this is also one of the books that I like to give to other people who may be interested in comic books, especially about, and it's like, if I'm gonna be honest, like Canadian history is very boring, very dull. But Louis Riel is a very interesting political figure in Canadian history, and really well done, really well researched. So it's like a book I like to give to other people who
Yeah.
are curious about early Canadian history, and it's really well done.
Awesome stuff. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right, who's next? It's Gary. Gary. I think it's Gary.
Yeah.
It is Gary. This is Gary.
Well,
It's
I
definitely-
volunteer. Drawn and Quarterly is one of my favorite publishers. I've known Peggy Burns for over 20 years, and her husband Tom Devlin, who used to do High Water books. And my favorite thing I got from them, they were back at San Diego this year after a 2 or 3 year absence, is Tom Gauld's new book, which is called Physics for Cats, which is a collection of his cartoons from the New Scientist. And Gauld does, he's British, but he does New York Times Magazine covers and New Yorker covers and stuff like that. And his work is really, really incredible. And those are enjoyable little books. They do a collection of his cartoons from that and The Guardian every couple of years. So, but my last book is something I got for Christmas from a friend, and I haven't read it yet, but I've looked through it and I love it. It's the cheap
Ooh.
and budget size version of Taschen's EC Comics.
Ooh.
Taschen for the last number of years has done these huge $200 books that will, not only can you build a house from them if you stack them up, but you can also give yourself a hernia from trying to hold them to read.
Great for reading
But,
on. Yeah.
But this is their $30 version of this, and it covers really the new trend, which is just the EC Comics part that really we care about: the horror books, the science fiction books, Mad, the war books, and it has every. If you look at the side or the black section at the bottom, there has every EC cover from the new trend in it too. So it's written by Grant Geisman, who I worked with in 2020, the last Comic-Con souvenir book I did, which was an online-only PDF type of thing. We did the 75th anniversary of EC Comics, because EC Comics really had started in 1945 when MC Gaines sold off All American Comics to DC and went and started his own company. At that point in time, it was called Educational Comics and not Entertaining Comics. And he did things that, all of us really want to collect, like picture stories from the Bible.
Oh.
And I think there were some, there might have been like a Civil War or Revolutionary Wars one thing too. But anyways, so I have a love-hate relationship with EC Comics. I love the art, but I hate to read them because the writing is just so. There are pages that are almost all word balloons.
Yeah.
Al Feldstein really could not keep his mouth shut. But on the other hand, you have Kurtzman, who, didn't do the Leroy lettering and everything else. So he knew how to tell a story and let the art tell the story. And of course, Mad Mad Comics is included in this book and everything else too. And for $30 and at a size that you can actually hold, even on the toilet if you want to, it's a lot easier. I haven't done that yet, so forgive me. It's a lot easier to handle, and it's just a really nice. And Grant Geisman right away is a musician who was most famous for creating the unforgettable 2.5 Men theme song. So, but he's also like one of the leading EC Comics collectors in the world. It has an incredible collection of original art and commissions from people like Feldstein and Graham Ingalls and stuff like that. And he was just a great resource. He wrote this article for the souvenir book, which unfortunately you can't find anywhere because Comic-Con changed their website all around. So,
Gary, are you enjoying the Fantagraphics Atlas hardbacks as much as I am?
Yes and no, because I got to the point where the thing that I really enjoyed was the historical information in the front. And again, the art is great. I mean, you have Joe Maneely and Russ Heath and Kirby and everything. Not so much Kirby, but the stories are really difficult to read. And it got to the point that they're too expensive.
Yeah, the Venus one is amazing. The Bill
The
Everett.
Venus one was beautiful. Yeah, Bill Everett stuff. The Bill Everett Atlas artwork is just incredible.
The police one is interesting because those books have never been reprinted anywhere ever, and it's almost like the EC stuff. Like every story ends. Oh, she's the werewolf. Okay.
I actually suggested to Eric Reynolds of Fantagraphics at Comic-Con this year, why don't you publish a book like the EC Fan Addict magazine that they were doing? That's just a collection of all the historical information from the Atlas books,
Yeah.
as a fanzine. Because that I would buy in a heartbeat. The EC Fan Addict stuff is great, but I don't know if that's going to continue because Roger Hill died a couple of years ago, and he was basically the key person behind that. I think Grant Geisman actually finished the last EC Fan Addict book, but the one I'm looking forward to that I would like to look at least is Snafu.
Yeah,
which was Marvel's Mad magazine from the night. You got it already?
Here, I've got all 3 snafus right here.
Oh, okay.
On this desk.
But they're collecting that as part of the Atlas Comics library.
How come Dr. Michael doesn't write a book?
Well, he did. He did that book years ago called The Secret History of Marvel Comics with Blake Bell, who did the Bill Everett library stuff for Fantagraphics. And that's basically, that might be a little hard to find too, because I think Marvel had a real problem with it. But it's basically about all the Martin Goodman pulp magazines.
Right.
And there's a lot of Kirby illustrations in those too. Yeah, I would love to see them collect all that stuff. But, you know, at anywhere from $45 to $55 a pop, it just gets a little expensive to keep buying them.
On Amazon.
And I'm looking to move in the next few months, so it's really a pain in the ass to move those types of books. So,
yeah.
David, is this your show?
It is. I'm going to hand over to Richard.
Oh, is it me again?
It's you again.
Next book I came across at a local convention. John pressed it for me, and came out really well. It is Black Man #1.
Nice.
This is there are only 45 of these books on the census at this point. There are only 6 books graded higher than this 9.0. Really, really hard book to come by. It's from an individual publisher. There was only one book in this series that ever came out. It has a really tough on the back. This is John's handiwork. There is a red stripe on the inside cover of this back cover that just bleeds through. John worked his magic and got rid of that bleed through. Just a really tough book to have in general, and to have a high grade book is even more difficult. So yeah, I came across this raw, and I was just excited because I got it at a very reasonable price. The graded copies of this book are expensive, so this is one of my PC books. You know, if I had to shrink my collection down to a short box, this book would be in that short box.
What year did that
originally published?
This was published 1981 by Leader Comics Group. They are the publishers. It's a collector's issue. Yeah, it's the only issue.
Why it's collector's issue.
Richard, remind me if I'm wrong here. I believe it was Philadelphia was where the guy was from, and that was distributed mostly in Philadelphia, New York City, that area. It did not have nationwide distribution.
Right. And because of that, it was just a really, really rare book. It shows up on eBay every now and then. Raws, even like crappy raws, were expensive. And to find a really good copy at a convention raw was just amazing. And the guy who sold it to me, I believe I bought it for $300, which was just a general steal for a book in high grade. And like I said, John did his magic on it to get me the best grade possible. So thanks to John.
Yeah, we walked a few aisles over that same convention, and someone else had a copy for $900.
Yeah, crazy. Again, 45 books on the census, so that just tells you how rare this book is.
And how many? Like, what's the sort of a grade range for those 45? Are they like?
There are six higher than 9.0.
Right.
There are 4 other books in the 9.0 grade, and everything else is below 9.0.
Wow.
So that's and it ranges from, there's one signature book on the census, which is interesting. But the most of them are around 6.0 is where they hover.
That signature is Stanley, by the way.
I was going to say that.
Happy birthday,
You
Stan.
sign anything. Right. Thank you. That was awesome. I remember seeing that video actually when you covered that originally. So it's super happy to see that book.
It is the only book I got graded in 2025.
Wow. Okay.
We gave up.
So that was your discount. That's why you got to use the discount.
Yep.
Awesome.
Hey,
No, shoot.
Gary's for you. Snafu 1.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Snafu 2.
I have never seen those before.
And Snafu 3. For people who are going, why is John showing these? This was a Mad Magazine ripoff that Stan Lee and Martin Goodman in an Atlas era. And this guy right here is the mascot.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, not Alfred E. Newman, but that's
Not
like
at all.
Jimmy Neutron.
Gary, you want to tell everybody who that is?
I have no idea. I've never seen those before.
Irving Forbush.
Oh, there you go.
Ooh.
So if you know your 60s Marvel, you know exactly what that reference is. But that's the first appearance of Irving Forbush is in Snafu. And those are coming from Fantagraphics later this year. But that's not what I wanted to show. What I wanted to show, go back to West Coast Dave, who talked about Absolute Batman. I am so thankful for Absolute Batman in 2025 because I bought several copies. The shop I have here ordered way too many. So I said, can I buy all of these number ones? And he said, sure. And I said, well, Ryan, I'm an honest guy. Showed him on eBay. He goes, I don't care. I want, what if you got cash, go. Okay. So sold them all. And they helped me to buy things like Rocky and his fiendish friend.
Wow.
The first appearance of Rocky and Bullwinkle in comics.
Cool.
The $200, which, I think I talked him down. Got this at was it WonderCon? I think it's beautiful, you guys. I can't believe I only had it for $200. It's gorgeous. I have not even opened it from obviously coming back from the convention. It's been sitting in my to be pressed pile, but it's gorgeous. And so my focus this year really was on the obscure animation titles. So along the Jay Ward line is Fractured Fairy Tales #1. This is actually 4-color. I don't know what issue 4-color number 18,000 or whatever. This is another San Diego grab, and then Bandwagon, which is the first appearance of Lippy Louie. Who else? Bunch of Hanna-Barbera characters, basically first appearance. Again, just a gorgeous square bound, like where some little kid's grubby mitts never touched it. These books are not for you, kid.
Was the Rocky and Bullwinkle square bound also?
It is.
Okay.
It's a giant 25 center, 80 pages.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Nice little clean square bound. And my last square bound, first appearance of Speedy Gonzalez in Bugs Bunny Christmas Funnies. So take those new modern books that everybody seems to be really obsessing over for no real reason. The print run is huge, you guys.
It's because they're good. It's because
I
people
know.
are reading them.
There's 275,000 of them. It is not rare. It is not rare. Is there suddenly a million comic book collectors out there and they can't get their hands on a copy of Absolute Batman #1?
I hear you, Dave. It is a good story, but there is a lot of FOMO going on with it. It's
Sure.
Look at Spider-Boy. I was just at a local comic book shop going, how big and popular Spider-Boy was. It was in the dollar bin. I mean, it's crazy.
Hold on 1 second. Spider-Boy was utter garbage. And Absolute Batman is an amazing, well-written, and a supremely drawn comic book. That's like comparing
agree with you, but I'm talking
Jaws to Madam Web.
I'm talking about the hype about the story is definitely good. But there is a lot of the interest in the book is not about the story. It's about the promo. And it's the same thing with Spider-Boy. It was not the book. It could have been written by anything. It was just the fact it was a new character. There's excitement behind it. and supply and demand drove up price, and the FOMO drove up the price, and today it's worth nothing. I'm not saying Absolute Batman is ever going to get to that point, but Absolute Batman is not the next Amazing Fantasy 15.
My point is, I'm absolutely thankful for Absolute Batman because I was able to turn it into things that Raph can appreciate.
Oh yeah.
I have zero interest. Oh, look, my bat logo comes off and it becomes an axe. I'll turn it. Sorry, Dave. I'll turn it into a Rocky first appearance any time of the day.
Oh, it's the right way to do it. Well, that's the thing. I am reading Absolute Batman and I'm enjoying it, but I don't understand, to your point, the spec. It's
$400.
Well, you guys are confusing things. You guys are starting to think like they used to think in the 90s. It's literally not about spec. It's about people wanting the comic because they are enjoying the comic. It has nothing to do with the first appearance.
Anything that brings new blood in, I am 100%
correct.
Well, what I have to comment on is we've got 7 different people here, and everyone on this panel is focusing on their personal collection for this past year, and I'm thinking 2026 isn't going to be any different. We focus on the things we like, not necessarily things that resell, and I think that indicates some strength in the collecting hobby.
Speaking of things that we like, I don't know.
It's a blank piece of paper.
It's a blank piece of paper.
Yeah.
So I have been after a Jack Kirby signature
Stop it.
on Miracle Man for the longest time.
Don't do this.
Oh yeah.
So,
wow.
Forever People issue 11 page. What page is it? Don't know. But it does. Yeah, I knew I wasn't going to get a signed comic book of Miracle Man 1, so I just went, right, this came up on a UK auction and I just had to have it. So I am now officially a owner of an original piece of Jack Kirby art.
What issue is that from again?
Issue 11 of Forever People.
Thank God. So it's Mike Royer. It's not Vinnie Coletta.
Yeah, no, it's Mike. Yeah, Mike Royer.
Yeah, you can tell.
There's one for your issue for number 3. Can you do that?
I'll put that. If we do another Faces of Jack Kirby, I'll put that in there. I love his Forever People stuff is gorgeous.
And if you do a Feet of Jack Kirby, that one would work as well.
Yeah.
That would probably sell a lot.
Yeah. But I liked it because it's got all of them in it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
congrats. That's awesome.
So it's the next best thing to being able to buy a signed copy of Miracle Man 1.
I think you have that reversed. I think that's better, the original art. But hey, that's just me.
No, I agree.
Okay.
I reverted and I was like, going, you know what? I can get a signature anywhere, but I'm not going to be able to find that again.
Yeah, the chat says you meant Mr. Miracle, right?
Mr. Miracle, yes. Sorry, but I'm coming to my next year's, which is Miracle Man 1, which is why I hate you.
Thanks, John. Look at that. Look at that beautiful.
Can we talk about this for a second, Dave?
Sure. Yeah, sure. I'll just make you big.
What was the Dave? Take the floor. I'll just flip through it.
Oh, I mean, I got a collection a couple years ago of mostly bronze and silver stuff, and I started to flip through. I got all the Fourth World stuff. I got pretty much the Kirby stuff that wasn't, the beginning of Marvel. And I started to notice he did all these single page or half page or quarter page splashes of faces that nobody talks about it. Nobody would talk about the crackle. You talk about the building of the universe. You talk about the machinery, and people would never talk about the faces. And so I came up with this idea with my buddy Andrew to do a zine just focused on the different faces, because I mean, he could do facial expressions like nobody else. He could construct a face out of metal that really just drew your eyes in to, how magnificent it was. And Royer definitely is the bulk of the inking on this stuff.
Thank God.
The team of the two of them really put the face on it. So yeah, I did two 2 volumes, Many Faces of Jack Kirby, Volume 1 and 2. We donated a portion of the proceeds of every sale of the zine to the Kirby Center. And don't know if I'm going to do a 3 yet, or we may do trying to figure out a way to print an oversized treasury edition of both volumes as well.
Very nice.
So that's that.
Very good.
Thank
It's
you
really
for
good.
showing
And
it
the
off.
second volume, they're both brilliant. I love them. It's inspired me to do something like that, but I just I can't quite work it out.
The Many Legs of Frank Robbins.
The Many Feet of Rob Liefeld.
There you go.
It's a stamp.
And
No.
I think Gary will agree with me that doing stuff like this, making self-published collections of things that might need or require cataloging is an important way to keep comics going forward for future generations, as we're talking about collections of EC stuff that may never see the light of day. Like in 30 years, when paper and books and stuff are more scarce, it'd be nice to have some of this compilation or collections or cataloging of things that we love and collect.
Yeah, very much. So talking of what we love and collect, I'm going to do a very quick round robin again in terms of everyone's what they're looking for in 2026, and then we'll close the show. So I will start this time because the person sitting to my right has this book, and I almost got one this year.
Really?
I did, but I lost out at the bidding because it was overnight. It's Miracle Man issue 1, not Mr. Miracle. Miracle Man issue 1, but the San Diego Comic-Con signed edition, which you have, which you still haven't graded, is my understanding.
I do have it graded. It came up a 9.0.
Ah, excellent. And with the blue label.
Yes, it has a blue label because it was signed on the inner page by our buddy
Alan Moore.
Alan Moore. Thank you, Alan Moore. And all the gold ones are numbered as well.
Yeah. That's what I'm looking for. And so maybe I'll hand over to you, Richard, seeing as you're right next to me, and we'll go round.
Okay. I wish I had my copy around here someplace to taunt you. But
you should get it authenticated.
I should. Okay. Well, for me, my collection is a very stable place. I'm very happy with what I have. There aren't a whole lot of books that I really want. I am a fan of the independent movement of the 80s for comics. There are 2 books that I do not have. I do not have a Cerebus #1. So I do have a Cerebus #1 counterfeit, which bizarrely enough has value. And I also do not have a copy of Albedo #2, which is the first appearance of Usagi Yojimbo. So I'm thinking now is, the market is soft. If I'm going to approach one of those books, which are both of those books in pretty much any grade are 4-figure books. If I'm going to approach one of those 2 books, going to go out to California Comic-Con to see John here in February, maybe a perfect opportunity to kind of track one of those down.
God, they're going to see you coming now.
I have gone to California Comic-Con looking for those books for multiple years, and just the pricing of them is it's just too steep for me. I'm not willing to pay what some of these people have been asking in the past. But again, market is soft. Usagi Yojimbo hopefully is more accessible, and Cerebus is always just bizarrely expensive given Dave Sim and his attitude recently. But those 2 books are always been on my list. If I can collect one of those 2, I will be a happy man for 2026.
On both those books, is there a locale that they were both printed at that it's probably more likely you can get it at an even better price or more plentiful?
Albedo was printed up here in Washington. Steve Galacci published him out of Washington. That's how I found mine. Was not too far from where he lives.
Really?
Right.
Really?
And Rafa's probably going to get you a nice Cerebus, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna say they're more common up here in Canada than down south. I actually went to university in Dave Sim's hometown in Kitchener, Ontario, and the one bookstore, the one comic book store called Now and Then Books, where Dave Sim actually used to work. with Dave Sim and his wife at that time, Denny, a lot of they got a lot of seed money from the owner from Now and Then Books. And I used to collect a lot of Cerebus back in the day, and it was a wonderful place to get back issues because they were often like half market. Because Kitchener, like that's his hometown, and so I was able to get quite a few interesting Cerebus things. Although I no longer have a lot of that Cerebus stuff, but I was a huge fan back in the day.
Same here. I have fond memories of early Cerebus and Dave's work, and the artwork in there was just amazing. Gerard, who did a lot of the background artwork in those books, just did amazing detail work in those comics. So I missed the excitement that I used to garner about getting the issues of Cerebus. Kind of waned as the series went on. As he tried to approach he approached 300, it started to kind of lose the comic feature of it, the humor of it, and became more of I'm just going to call it a screed.
Why?
It was difficult to get through the later part of the run. The art still was amazing, but it was the content wasn't as easy to read. But still, I have fond memories of that series, and I would love to have a #1. I've always wanted a #1. It just was never something that was within my price range. So I'm crossing my fingers here in 2026. I'll be able to come across something.
Awesome. Laurence.
Dave Sim allegedly hosted some of the biggest and wildest parties at San Diego Comic-Con back in the 80s.
Oh, really?
And I didn't go to Comic-Con until 1992, but my boss went to one of those parties, and she left when a large plate of something came out. So
it snows up in Canada.
Exactly.
Wow, I didn't know that about Dave. That's interesting.
First things first, I want to thank you guys for having me on. After I answer this, I got to pop out because my wife is asking me questions over text, so I might as well just go answer her. But the one thing I'll say is this: for me, like the past year and the year coming forward, it's not really me looking for anything. It's like, what kind of information can I learn about some of these books? I do a Tuesday video where I talk about a lot of obscure books that I never knew had like important historical aspects to comics, or things maybe that I grew up with that I didn't know about. So to me, like learning new things and finding that information, and then taking that information and going to cons or going to shows, or even sometimes like on live sales on Instagram, like that's really what I'm about right now. Seeing if I can find something that nobody else knows about, and possibly getting it for a great deal. Like John was talking about that, Rocky and Bullwinkle book. Like to me, like without doing those videos and without having that knowledge, I would never know. So like, I've done more of that where I've like, you know what, I'm not really looking for anything, but if I learn something and then I find it out in the wild, like that to me is bringing me more joy than anything that I've ever had in comics.
Yeah.
And thank you guys. I will chat with all you guys soon. It was great being with you.
Thanks, Laurence.
Take care, guys.
Lawrence.
Tell your wife.
Take care. All right, bye.
See ya. Oh, now that's confused me. It's going to be Raph, right?
Okay. So
Yeah.
for me, I've always been kind of like an opportunist buyer. My challenge is more restraint than anything else. Just because often it's like, oh my God, there's all this awesome stuff that I want, that so I just kind of have to, hold back. I did mention earlier, I would love to get a few more nice pre-hero monster Marvel books. Like that Tales to Astonish number 34 with that monster at the window cover. But again, it's like, it's only if those kind of opportunities kind of arise. So I really like finding oddball stuff. Like John, I think like with you, Charlton, the Gold Key stuff, whatever I come across, like nice examples of that, or stuff I just haven't seen before. I'm always happy about that. And maybe some more 80s, and like to your point earlier, Richard, about like that 80s independent stuff. There's a lot of fun stuff there that that I remember back in the day that it's when I come across now, it's it's really neat. Like I bought a copy of the Silent Invasion #1, I think from Renegade Press, and it's like, oh, this is really cool. Like it's just different, and there's just stuff in that just because of the nostalgia factor as well too. There's a lot of stuff there, and there's another channel that I watch called, and maybe you guys watch it as well too, called Strange Brain Parts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he's been going through all these like series from First comics that have been wonderful. Like, so that's kind of like reactivating this part of memory that I have of those comic books that I really enjoyed.
He's your running Mars now.
Yeah, they did Mars. Oh my god! So like, he did one on Grimjack, waiting for the one on John Sable. So, but yeah, that kind of stuff I think is kind of fun to revisit. So hopefully some of that stuff in the future, in the next year.
We have to call out this Tinkerballs. Tin cameo.
My cat, yes, my cat decided that he wanted to be a part of the conversation.
It's a good cameo.
Dave.
Me. That's me. 2026. Yeah, that's happening in a couple days. Honestly, I'm not. If I put anything out there that I want, it means I have to try and find it, and I don't know the kind of money I'm going to spend on original art this year. It's probably going to be dangerous. I mean, I'd like to get a Silvestri page. It doesn't need to be X-Men, but I would like it to at least be Wolverine, if not X-Men. And I don't, collecting wise, like I'm still trying to complete the entirety of McFarlane's books that have Mark Jewelers, and I need maybe like 3 or 4 more, Hulk 340 being the big one, but I'm not going to specifically buy that and pay for it. I'm going to find one in the wild that is a Mark Jewelers. Being in Washington, they're all over the place. But
right.
Yeah, the hunt is why I still collect. Like if I didn't, I could just go out and just buy everything I want, but I like hunting for it and going into shops and traveling around the world and finding random things that I didn't know were, exist. Much like everybody's kind of been talking about, but to me, and I think David, this is not going to be lost on you. What I'm going to collect next year, my goals next year, are interviews. I have a list. Momoko's on there, and she knows I want to interview her, but she doesn't like doing interviews. I pitched Jim Lee to Jim Lee in front of his face in Tokyo. That's not going to happen because he's a president of DC. Frank Miller would be nice. As much as he's a controversial figure, I think I still want to interview Rob Liefeld, despite sometimes, you just don't want to listen to some of the dumb stuff he says. And I think that's really my goal, is to go deeper into this thing that I've started with interviewing creators and really talking about comics from the creator level to, me and Gary have talked and there's a lot of the history that creators can fill in the gaps. When I interviewed Stan Sakai, that was one of those, pieces of like filling in the gaps of how San Diego, the community there started and kept growing. So that's my collecting goals for 2026, is to collect people.
Awesome.
I'm available, Dave, and I present reasonably well. So.
Good Mylar.
Noted.
Oh, good Mylar.
You're a 9.8 in our books, Gary.
There you go,
Thanks.
By the way, if you a little tip, Dave, for interviews, do what we do. Wait till they get fired, and then you're a little easier to get after that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Especially when they got fired 30 years prior as editor in chief. Then it's really easy to get them. I have a couple. I always talk, first of all, Flaming Carrot. I need a Visions #1 again, because I have one. I sold it like an idiot. And I need the magazine #1. I have a regular comic size Flaming Carrot #1. I want the magazine one shot #1. So if you see me coming, mark your prices down. And I think this is, Richard, our 6th year we're going into. So I'm going to say the same goal I have had for the last 6 years, which is really obscure and this audience will appreciate. Captain America issue 212 has 5 different variants. I have 3 of the 5. It has a regular 30-cent cover. It has a UK variant, which I have. It has a Whitman variant, which I have. It has a 35-cent variant, which I do not have. And then it has a 35-cent variant printing error where Marvel Comics Group around the yellow strip is missing. That book is impossible. So those two 35-cent variants are the only two I'm missing. I'm still waiting. Every day on eBay, I see a regular 35-cent variant come up, and it used to be $2,000. Then it was $1,800. Then it was $1,000. I just saw one go up last week for $795, and I followed it, and the guy sent me an offer like immediately. It's like still too much. But the one that's missing the Marvel Comics strip across the top is really tough. So
Key Collector, that's sold this week or last week. It came up in Key Collector, I'm pretty sure.
Really?
which one?
Yeah. The non-masthead version.
How much?
I seem to remember it was in the hot 10 runners up. I'm just looking now.
Jeez. See, I hate when it makes the news. I don't want anybody to know about it. I brought it up.
That's the kind of book that you look for enough. There's, let's say out of 100% of the people that exist, maybe 5 people know what that book is. And so that's a book you will eventually find for $1, $2, $5.
I hope so, but I will tell you this, Dave. I've been to every single San Diego Comic-Con since the year 1990. I've never missed one. I've been to every WonderCon since the year 1994, and I've never missed one. I've been to every one of Terry's California Comic-Cons since it started. I have never seen one in person, ever. Not on a dealer's wall, not in a box, never.
And
I think
I would.
Oh, sorry, Richard.
I'm sorry. I would love to find one just to see John's face.
Yeah. Well, I think that strengthens my statement is that people don't know about it. So you have to go to stores. You have to go to Pittsburgh, spend a week in Pittsburgh. There's 46,000 stores in Pittsburgh. You'll find one of those.
By the way, that's the first time anybody's ever said that statement. Go to Pittsburgh.
I lived in Pittsburgh for 20 years.
I'm from
and I worked at Ides for over a year, and I knew Greg Ide really well. I know Jim Terozzi and Ken Kropp, who are the owners now since Greg passed, sadly, from COVID. And it's a great store. I mean, there are. Let's see, New Dimension has numerous stores back there.
Todd's got a warehouse.
Jim Rugg has a great little fanzine that's basically a guide to Pittsburgh comic shops. It's like $5 on his website. It's worth getting. And I know, Dave, Jim took you around on one of your videos and stuff to all those stores. Phantom of the Attic in Oakland is great. Oakland is a district of Pittsburgh where Carnegie Mellon University and University of Pittsburgh is. Has an incredible backstory of comics history there. I mean, Ed Piscor and Jim Rugg and everybody else, and it's a great city to go to just to shop for comics.
I joke. Richard and I were this close to going Thanksgiving weekend to Pittsburgh.
I'm sorry, John.
There was a comic book convention that we were like, I'm going to be in town. Maybe we should go to this, and we wimped out at the last. It was the same weekend as Galaxy Con in Columbus. Which one, if we do one, and we ended up doing none of them.
It doesn't have a history of really great comic conventions because the Pittsburgh Comic Con was owned by a guy that owned stores more into the middle of the state, who was eventually convicted of killing his wife, who ran the store with him, and is in prison now.
Wow. Melbourne David, I shared the books if you want to show that. Can you add it to the stage? Can you see it? If not, don't worry about it. Just
but John, my one of my points is that there are so many comics and collections that are coming into Pittsburgh from all over the place because guys like Todd and all these people will buy warehouses. I mean, you'll find stuff there in bins that you're just like, I've either never seen this comic or I've only seen this comic once, and there's so much of it that they don't have time to funnel through and look at every little variant.
Road trip.
There you go.
It's like 3 hours from here, so I am totally into going over there and checking it out. If you had to do a one shop, which one would you recommend?
Oh, that's too tough. I mean, Ides or New Dimension Pittsburgh Mills Mall, because their dollar bin section, their dollar boxes are the size. The room that's in is like the size of a Best Buy.
Oh man.
I would definitely recommend Ides because I know, John, you're a huge music fan. They have a ton of music.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
We'd have to go to the World Museum too.
Greg was smart enough years ago to buy an actual building in downtown Pittsburgh, and it is he lived on the top floor, and the other 4 stories are, the basement is comics. There's vintage paperbacks. There's vinyl. There's movie stuff. There's DVDs and everything else. It's like a pop culture superstore.
He bought a.
They are not the friendliest people in the world, but they're kind of lovable. So
He bought a building in downtown Pittsburgh. $25.
Probably.
Right, Gary, you're our
Yeah.
last 2026 collecting. Marvel person.
2026, like I said earlier, I'm hoping to do some more panels. I'm hoping even to do something outside of my little Southern California sphere of influence. Maybe go to Baltimore Con because I know the guy that runs programming at Baltimore. I applied for a panel at Emerald City, but they turned me down, which is great because that's probably around the time I'm going to have to move. I will be at WonderCon. I haven't gotten word yet whether I'll have a panel. I would like to do something like this at Comic-Con, if any of you are going to be there. Try and do some kind of YouTube thing. Maybe we can talk about that offline. And I think I'm going to do something with Evanier and John Morrow again at Comic-Con, which is basically, John Morrow has a book coming out called Marvelmation, I think it's called, which is basically Kirby's last act. It's when he returned to Marvel in the 70s and then moved on to animation work in Southern California before he retired, and also Pacific Comics and all that kind of stuff. And that's going to come out probably around the time of Comic-Con. So I'd like to do something with Evanier and Morrow about basically Kirby returns to Marvel in 1975.
We have Kirby to thank for Herbie the Robot.
We do?
We do.
I didn't know that.
Don't blame him. Dare you?
I thought that was an animation thing because the Human Torch was tied up.
It was, but he did the sketch for it. There's a piece of.
I have seen that. Yeah.
The design.
I'm sure that'll be in
The
John's
design
book.
is Kirby.
It's not his character. He did the design. Let's be very clear, Dave.
The other thing I'm looking forward to, I mentioned it earlier and I mentioned it last year, so I hate to be a broken record, but I really, really love the DC Finest line that they've come out with. I think when I talked about it last year when we did this, there were only 3 or 4 books out. Now there's 48. Wow. So they've been very aggressive with this coming up. This was the second Superman Golden Age volume. There's a Batman Golden Age volume coming out, the first one in January, which starts with Detective 27. There's another War one coming out, which is all Sergeant Rock, I think in April. They're doing a Dead Man volume that's going to include everything Dead Men, including the Strange Adventures Neil Adams issues and the 2 Kirby Forever People issues and all the other like World's Finest and other stories and that coming up. So they've listed all their books from now through July. So everybody's kind of waiting to see what, hopefully in the beginning part of the year, they'll release what they're going to do for the second half of the year. So they're $39.99. They don't have any volume numbers on it. So I, as an OCD collector type, I don't feel compelled to buy volume 1 and 2 if I really just want volume 3, which is, I think, one of the failings of the Epic collections. But I still like the Marvel Epic collections, and they're finally have reached the point where they're going to start doing the John Byrne Fantastic Four run, which comes out in February. So,
as a Cap fan, the Marvel Epics are hilarious because I never thought I would see a collection of Cap Wolf.
Right.
Epic.
And they're getting to the point with the Epic collections now where they're actually finishing off entire titles. So they started this modern epic collection, which really doesn't interest me that much, but I'm happy that they're finally got to the John Byrne era of Fantastic Four.
It took them long enough. That one's going slow. I thought with the movie they would really accelerate that one.
I think they were too busy trying to push the omnibus editions. So.
Yeah. The fact that they finished Cap before Fantastic Four as a Cap fan still seems wrong to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much, everybody. This has been fabulous having you all to celebrate and bring in 2026 and share all of your comic collecting, toy collecting, art collecting moments from 2025. So I want to thank you all very, very much. I want to thank the chat. We've been very remiss with the chat. It's been going off, but thank you all for being here. Richard, maybe I should hand over to you. It wouldn't be a show where Bronze and Modern God appears without you using your famous line at the very end. But I do want to wish everyone a very, very happy new year and a great 2026. And with that, we will let you all go. Thank you so much. And Richard, over to you.
Everybody, stay safe.